everyone! Thank you guys for tuning into the stream. If this is Rocky, if you can't hear me, let me know in chat. We're still figuring out the technical stuff. I'm Jameson. We're going to be playing Dungeons and Dragons very loosely. We're using that as the base set of the rules, but we're reskinning the hell out of this. Let's go around the table screen. Let's introduce one. Let's start with Mr. Levy. Oh, who else do we have? Clara, you want to introduce yourself? Oh, mine's keyed out. Yeah, no worries. So who else? We got Blythe joining us. Uh-oh. There she is. Wonderful. And Joey joining us, who's also muted. Oh, yeah. So originally, the concept of the game, Dying Embers, when it was pitched to everyone here, was that we were going to play Band of Blades, which, for those of you that don't know, is a very grim, dark, depressing game where you're just trying to survive, you're trying to just make ends meet, but, you know, you're always losing. We thought, you know, with everything going on, it's probably best if we just kind of take a step away from that and play something a little more fun. So we're still playing, so we switched over to D&D, but we're still keeping the name. So tonight in chat, we're going to let people populate. It's going to take a few minutes for them to get here. We're going to build the world together. I'm really excited to go over some of the stuff that has already been kind of pitched and bantered around. The main conceit of the game is that we are playing as people who have on the losing side of war, who have lost the war. You know, whatever the big war, the Champions of Light, you guys have lost it. What that confrontation was, we'll discuss tonight. Kind of build character ties and go from there. Sound good? Good. Yeah. Nice. Yeah, I'm like halfway through season 1, and I've been meaning to get back to this, so... Oh, it looks like they're only hearing me. Let me see if I can fix this. Right? Well, that's why I've got the other... I'm seeing levels, yes, but I want to make sure that I'm displaying everything correctly, because for some reason stuff was not showing up.
I'm slowly becoming an anime character in this chat, apparently. This is fun.
Just in this chat?
Yeah.
Just in this chat.
Sure.
The only time I've ever been an anime character ever.
Unlikely story.
Just right now. It's just this very moment. No, this actually... So, I kept trying to use the green screen, the back of my.
Hi, what's this? Thank you, Zoom.
Oh, hello.
I don't know
For
what just
being
happened, but
So
thank you.
helpful.
I kept trying to green screen this background, but my undyed hair, my bleached hair without color in it, was the same color. So I kept keying out my hair and the background. And I was like, "Ugh, fuck this." So I just dyed my hair to fix it.
Jameson, whatever you did, it looks like,
Works.
yeah, someone's getting everybody now.
Great. Let's hope that stays that way. I have no idea what I did. All right. Fun. Let me. Come on. Yes, advertisements. Those are wonderful.
Always a good time.
All right. Now that they can hear us, does everyone want to go through real quick, reintroduce themselves, make sure everyone can be heard? I'm sure if one can be heard, we all can, so it doesn't matter.
No, I agree, but I was going to suggest the same thing.
Yeah. Let's
intro.
Let's do it again. Start from Nick.
Hey everyone, I'm Nick, and today we're going to be building a world. So I don't have a character yet to tell you about. I secretly do, but we're going to be fleshing everything out with your help.
All right, Clara.
Hi, I'm Clara, and I also don't have a character, but we have plans.
Blythe.
Hi. Yeah, no, I'm super excited to world build and hopefully get my character started because we definitely have ideas.
Joey.
Hey guys, I'm super excited to build this world and play this character, which I definitely have somewhat built already. Shock! I'm playing a bard!
What?
I know. You all can like put on your shock faces. It's happening. It's real. You're welcome.
Okay.
I mean, I can be shocked. I haven't seen you play a bard before.
Same here.
Never.
Well,
Yeah.
he is a bard. That's the shock.
Yeah.
When this
I
goes
just-
on YouTube, can we? Everyone. I'm
Like
not gonna lie. It's kind of the face that, like, never mind. Never mind.
Perfect. All right, and I'm going to be recording everything in my GM notebook.
Ooh, sexy.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Mm-hmm.
look who's so fancy.
So fancy. Listen, I just collect these things and people give them to me and they're wonderful. So, one of the... I have 3 conceits of this world before we start building things. The first conceit is, of course, you guys lost the war. Whatever the war is, you guys lost it. The second conceit is that the side that won is anti-magic, but is pro-technology. All right. And conceit number 3, Warforges exist, but they are non-sentient. Now, that does not mean if you want to play a Warforged, you cannot be sentient. You totally can be. You'll be looked at as kind of an anomaly, something like Johnny Five, like, what is this thing? Why is it walking on its own? That's a reference for, like, the 6 of you in there. So.
They feel like all the same. Like, those 3 all seem to work for me. I don't know. I have no marriage to playing a Warforged, so...
Yeah, no, but I am. It is kind of interesting because I did want to play a magic-based character, so
By all
that's gonna be
means,
fun.
Play a magic character.
Same.
Magic it up. But again, it's one of those things where it's hidden.
No, I know. I mean, that's kind of hilarious because the character I want to play is very Jedi in concept, so it's gonna be like I have to hide my Jedi-ness. I am Kanan. It's fine.
The trick is you don't tell them.
Yeah, you gotta keep it secret, not whip out your lightsaber every 5 seconds.
Keep it safe, secret. Keep it safe.
Get that deception up.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
So the first question to get everything started is, what is the geography like? Is this like one giant continent with everyone kind of crammed together? Is it a series of islands, very like Hawaii or something like that? Or is it kind of like The Last Airbender, where it's got 4 large continents all kind of separated and moving in their own directions?
So I'll be honest, the idea that we have lost a war and that we're kind of together, obviously, as a group, gives me big Firefly vibes. And I kind of like the idea of if there are a bunch of islands and maybe we're on a ship, and that kind of gives us a analog for that, where there are different places we can go, different places we can flee to, that we're not stuck necessarily in one area. And not that things have to be ship-based, although they can be, but it gives us sort of that same kind of vibe.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm pro Sky Pirate.
I am also pro Sky Pirate.
That could also work really well.
I like the idea of kind of Avatar: The Last Airbender style, where it's like big different nations that we have to get to, which kind of fits in with what you're saying, where like we still have ship travel and stuff in there, but it's like with the war, the fact that there's different nations, planets to go to.
My hesitation. Oh, Joey.
No, go ahead, Claire.
My hesitation with a large world when it comes to the system we're using, and obviously that's up to the GM to play with or not play with, has always been that how much traveling do you actually do in a game? Okay. In my experience, it's always been very contained. Mm-hmm. So this could be a really good opportunity to break out of that. I worry that just being an archipelago kind of keeps us from doing that.
Understood.
I don't know. That's sort of up to you.
So my concept is definitely traveling. You guys will be going to a lot of different locations. It's just a matter of, is there going to be big swaths of land, or are you going to have to worry about crashing into the ocean?
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of, like, the only thing is with D&D as a system, I'm not a big fan of boat travel or boat combat. Like, I don't really want to have to boat combat. So if we are going to travel, I would like it to be like a Mass Effect loading screen where it's like, that's where we're hanging out and chatting. And then when we get to the place, that's where the actual adventure and combat and things happen.
Okay.
Where like we kind of pace it out as like the ship is where we have our real downtime and like can have real character moments and beats. As opposed to like ship combat in D&D is not my favorite.
Don't worry about ship combat in D&D.
Combat that hard?
Huh? It's not that hard. I just don't. It's just never been. It's depending on how, like, you have to have built all of your characters to really fit that, and then you kind of. I feel like it makes it hard if you want to play like I'm trying to play a character that has magic, but I want to play some up close fighting things, and that can be a little frustrating if we're all on a ship. Like if all of us are up close fighters, we can't really do anything. Like stuff like that starts to happen.
Okay. I
don't know. I've just found it a little bit tedious compared to regular D&D combat. But I'm also not a big combat focused person, so I have a yes. I'm sorry. I have a question. Do you differentiate between ship combat, like the ships are shooting at each other and there's ballista and arrows and junk like that going off, or is that different from combat on a ship? Because I'm actually kind of really interested in having at least one sort of combat or encounter where we are bound by the limits of the ship that we're on. Mm-hmm. Because it does, in some ways, it does cut down on some options, but it also creates an interesting environment. And especially since we're going to be doing a lot of theater of the mind, it's going to let us do things like swing from the riggings and use descriptives that like a board wouldn't necessarily reflect very well for. Now, that doesn't have to happen, but do you consider that there's a difference between ship-to-ship combat, which I'm not interested in, I'm not a wargamer, and combat on a ship?
There's definitely a difference between the two.
I was referring to ship-to-ship combat. Not,
gotcha. Okay. So no one's interested in naval
not
combat.
Fighting on a ship, like the actual ship-to-ship combat.
Correct. I don't think anyone is really super into that.
Okay. Let me.
Okay.
My only criticism, or not criticism, but concern about doing a archipelago type situation is, since we're playing in a world where we're on the losing side of the war and kind of traveling through that area, I feel like we might lose some of the slice of life, seeing the effects of that, traveling town to town by foot, versus having to sail island to island. Like that traveling bit where we see kind of the effects of the war might not be as apparent if we're on a ship as opposed to on foot.
Yeah, that's true.
That's fair, yeah.
I would also just put a kibosh on it because it's a little colonial and I just don't want to deal with that bit right now.
Very fair.
That's fair.
Oh,
maybe just Avatar style, Last Airbender style,
Mhm.
multiple nations sort of situation.
Okay.
And then we can have some ship stuff and some land stuff and get the best of both worlds.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we're okay with doing the 4 big land masses that have to be traveled to, and of course there'll be small islands dotting the middle of it. Does that sound good for everybody?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds good to me.
Okay, and no naval combat. Sure, there'll be dogfights every so often, but most of that will be minimal. In you gotta escape, they're shooting at you, shoot back, run, type stuff.
As long as I can jump from one ship to another while stabbing it.
You backstab the
You
ship.
laugh. She's done it twice.
No, I'm totally in. I'm totally in. I love it.
Oh, I believe
Twice?
I think I've done it thrice.
Girl.
It's my move.
It's a go-to. All right, that is good to know. All right, so the answer is actually the next one. If there was several ruling nations or just one ruling nation, so there are several.
Maybe they're not quite done being at war.
Yeah.
That's fair.
I mean, like, they don't, like, it used to be wars had a really, like, nice, comfortable ending. Like, we signed a treaty, we're done.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, as it's been, I guess recently, especially, things just keep happening.
Yeah, that is true.
What if we are in kind of a ceasefire while the agreement and the treaty is being signed, but there's still some like little there's still conflict that's going on, but it's not the grand armies facing off against each other any longer. So it's more of like a cold, not a Cold War situation, but a
tense truce.
Yeah. Does that work?
Yeah,
I think so.
Or,
Okay.
yeah, I think that's a good idea. Or kind of like a situation where there was a winner technically, but that hasn't ended the war. It's like there was a winner. There is a nation that won, but that doesn't mean some of the smaller nations aren't still trying a little bit.
Understood.
It's just not the grand armies anymore. There's a pupper.
I was gonna say I got distracted by the pupper. Damn it, dogs. Gone. It's gone. Oh, yes. Originally the concept Jameson has thrown to us is that we were on the losing side. So would having this sort of truce light situation be amenable to that? Like, would we still be able to play that? Does that mess with the vision?
Oh, no, it doesn't mess with the vision at all. So that actually brings me to the next point that I was going to tackle. Yes, there are other nations. They are self-ruling. But the question, I guess, is this war that occurred, was it a civil war? Was it you at war with yourselves? Was it an external invading force? Because that will dictate kind of how other nations would react to you. If someone, Fire Nation example, is coming over and taking over your land, you're like, yeah, this is now Fire Nation land, except for this one area that's Ba Sing Se, but everything else is ours. Then yes, people are going to react to you a little differently. But if it's a civil war where it's Fire Nation fighting itself, then they're maybe not going to worry too much about you colonizing their land, but they're still going to be like, we don't want your problems here. You keep your problems on your border.
I guess a question would be, so the big point of the war was the aggressors were anti-magic, and our side, the losing side, was pro-magic. How do the other nations feel about magic? Was that the key issue that caused the war, or was that just an ideological thing between the two nations? I think we have to kind of figure out.
Well, that's all going to be built outwards based on how you guys structure this. If this was an internal civil war versus another nation who is anti-magic invades, then I would build additional nations to reflect and flush out their stances.
I mean, maybe it should be like a kind of World War deal where it was like there were a few nations that were pro-magic and a few nations that were anti-magic, and it basically became this all-out kind of mess.
I like that.
Why now there's like the treaty, but it's not real. No one's really at peace because some nations still are mad and some, like, you know.
Okay. So
I like that also because it gives us the chance to have nations that are allied still, like, on our side, in that way that, like, we're gonna run up against a lot of people who don't like our band of travelers. And it gives us places where we could be like, this seems like a safe place to hide for a while.
And that would also give us the ability to all be from slightly different nations. So it could be like maybe we were like a little band of soldiers that worked together during the war, but we all came from different places.
okay.
So,
I think it also supports having the reason why the winning side hasn't kind of imposed its vision on everybody else. Like you often see in traditional fantasy, whoever wins just becomes the new power over everything.
Mhm.
But if you structure it more off of like a modern World War II or something, all of the countries with some additions and treaties and whatever still govern themselves, even though there was winners and losers.
yeah.
That's fair.
And so, yeah.
Okay. So, some nations pro-magic, some anti-magic. The ones that were part of the pro-magic union lost, and the anti-magics won. All right. Cool. So there's that one. All right. What was? Do we want to name the aggressors? Do we have like are they an imperial army? Are they a I don't know. Trying to figure out how do they rule will dictate how they interact with people. Are they like the Fire Nation, where there's one supreme dictator who's ruling all of it, or do they have a high council of engineers, as it were? The Clockwork Council.
I like a council.
Yeah, I think council's interesting.
It would be kind of interesting if they were all separate nations who agreed to kind of become one under a council of all of their leaders.
Like an empire style situation, but like consulate? Is that the word I'm looking for?
I think that's the word.
Okay.
Like they all basically, they were able to unify in a way that I think the pro-magic side was having difficulty doing.
Maybe because of the different schools of magic.
Yeah.
Whether it's divine, nature, or arcane, they're constantly clashing against each other. But hey, you can always make a machine run.
Yeah. And like they'd obviously still have their differences, but it was just like they were able to come to an agreement in a way that the other side wasn't necessarily.
Okay, that's interesting.
I have additional reading suggestions after this.
This actually is very good because now you guys can go to a place where it's druidic magic, and if you're an arcane user, maybe you are treated the same as if you were a mech from the Mech Empire.
Or like it's a very begrudging friendship if we were on the same side, but I still don't think you're right.
Mm-hmm.
You're wrong, but not as wrong as them.
Yep.
Yes.
Is the council the Master Gears?
Master Gears. I like that. What do you guys think? Master Gears? Captain Cogs?
The Empire
cogs
Engine?
in the machine.
Oh, the Empire Engine.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah, that one.
I keep braining back to when you said like the Council of Engineers or something. If you've read Mortal Engines, I think they have that, like, one of the guilds is the Engineers Guild, and they have like it's a big ruling class situation.
Well,
I'm gonna have to make recommended reading.
That sounds great. I want to get into that. But yeah, no, that you bring up a good point. Do they have? Is it a tiered class? You've got your engineers, but beneath them are manufacturers, but beneath them are harvesters, like that collect resources.
I think it almost has to be. I mean, the way, if you think about in terms of, if we're casting this enemy as being about efficiency and everything in its place and very mechanical, then all of that sort of stratification of society makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, they would be very regimented of like, you are this is your way, this is the like they do. I don't think it goes as much as like assigning jobs to people, but certain jobs are definitely more important than others. Like, I don't think we're getting to like Outer Worlds territory where people are born and they're like, here's a test, that's what you're doing forever now.
No, but I think that there might be like a test for bureaucracy to like move up to a new rank.
Yeah. Roll for bureaucracy.
If you look at, I feel like because we're still playing D&D, and I think we're going to pull a lot from Eberron. When you look at steampunk as a genre, there's a lot of class struggle there. So looking at the mechanical sort of empire as being a steampunk-based society, there's definitely got to be like a huge class struggle, I think.
I think it's definitely on their side.
And it's definitely occupational.
We can hear the people singing the songs of Angry Men.
I'm not gonna lie, that might be a bit of the basis for my character.
What?
So
the setup and the spike.
I'm curious, are the ones in charge, are they master builders or no?
I imagine that they're engineers. Like they are people who've worked their way up to, like, I guess for lack of for a real world comparison, they're like the Elon Musks, the Steve Jobs, like people who really innovated and worked their way up, but are also still politically minded. Like they're still politicians.
So maybe call them like the architects.
I was going to say architect is, I think, a good way to describe it. Master builder is a term Lego uses for their like pro builders, which I mean is a game we could play.
Wait, hold on.
Lego stream.
Hold on, can we scrap this and just go to Legos?
We're just gonna play Legos for the next 3 hours.
Yes.
Oh my god, Lego mini D&D though is such a cute idea. And
right?
Yeah.
That's actually what I use for all my minis these days, is minifigs.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
Why not? Okay. They're probably cheaper than getting real D&D minis.
They are, and they are super customizable so that you can make sure you've got the weapon you like, the shield you like, the outfit, the whole 9 yards.
As long as you can hold it like this.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've already talked about what the enemies are like. Can you come together and name a hero from each side of the war? And possibly something they did. Okay, well, you
really
can
bad
come
at
up
names.
we can go with the name at the end, but we can have someone from the Mechanical Bros did something, and something from the Magicka side did something else. What were those things? People whisper about in legend.
Heroes from whose point of view?
Exactly. So the Mechanical Bros, they're going to have their own person, Johnny Yearhead, who, built 5 tanks in a day, I don't know, something. And then you can have Magical Sarah over here, and she molded 5 tanks into lava.
I mean, I feel like there's got to be, like, several, like, generals that we consider, like, the top-notch, like, they were the best. They single-handedly saved, like, a bunch of people. But then we also have to have, like, I feel like the Pro-Tech guy is, we don't see him as a hero, but obviously they see him that way. Despite creating some, like, monstrosity.
So
could we have had... Oh.
Go ahead.
Could we have had, like... sorry, not we, but could they have had, like, a John Henry kind of figure? Who... the story of John Henry where, like, in one day, he really did... Like he was able to outpace a machine. Actually, maybe it was from our side.
Yeah.
But he just was more productive than a machine, and it killed him.
Okay. I was also thinking it might be interesting to have like a I only know them. I always forget his real name. I always forget his name, but the movie Hacksaw Ridge is about him. The guy who is able to just like save a bunch of lives without ever killing a single person.
Oh shit, yeah.
Right.
Like, because honestly, that was like he was just a doctor. Like, it might be cool to have like maybe like to show the difference in values and this different sides. Like our side has like this hero who is known for like saving a bunch of people without actually hurting anyone, and then the other side it's like much more aggressive, much more cold.
Clara, if I can go back to your idea for a moment with John Henry, maybe that's how we're in this sort of current piece, is that somehow we were able to convince them to have a competition, and the respect that they gave that hero who was able to be as productive as a machine, even though it cost him his life, is what got us to sort of the bargaining table. Just an idea.
I like that.
I like that.
Okay. All right. That is good fodder for me to work with. Come up with a name.
My other option was Joan of Arc, so like.
I mean, I'm all here.
With both.
I'm all here for Joan of Arc.
I mean, that gets gods involved.
Okay.
Speaking of that, why did the gods not get involved, or did they get involved?
Or do they exist?
Right. Are there machine gods? Are there just magic gods?
I mean,
how does any of that work?
If we decide to keep most of D&D intact, there are machine gods. Like, if we want to keep with the D&D lore of having gods, and spiritual ties.
It's not having too much on that.
Well, there's... Oh, sorry.
I was just going to say, we have something from chat where someone said maybe an illusion wizard who saved a bunch of people without hurting anyone.
Ooh, I like that.
Ooh, I like that.
I like that idea a lot, chat.
Mm-hmm.
I like the idea, actually, of our side, the magic side, having more of an emphasis on people who are smaller but trickster kind of characters, rather than the raw power of like a tank. Does that make sense? Like our heroes would be an illusionist or like a healer or like a druid, because they're small but mighty, versus like their heroes being generals who destroyed swaths of land.
Yeah, like maybe ours are the person, like maybe this illusion wizard was a general and they were able to save all of their people through this, like to save their people and then some through their use of illusion magic. Like maybe they weren't, maybe they were the head of a school or something, like someone who was like really powerful.
Maybe they were able to cloak an entire town so that the marching army didn't see the town there to ransack or to pillage.
I like that a lot. Did that cost him his life or their life?
I don't think this is the same person.
Okay.
Yeah.
Totally cool. All right. So, Joan of Arc, illusionist. You guys are focused on saving lives and preserving life, whereas theirs is based on raw power and how much force they can bring to bear.
They're much more likely to use the paladins without magic, though, against us.
Okay.
How do we feel about the enemy's hero being kind of a Thrawn figure, since we've been talking Rebels and Star Wars stuff?
I have not seen Star Wars Rebels, so please explain.
In the Empire and Star Wars, they're basically all humans, except for there's a very high-level admiral who's an alien named Thrawn, and he is just incredibly intelligent and devious, and he's able to figure out plans and see patterns. One of his big characteristics is that he examines people's art to get understanding of other alien races and how they think. And if there was someone like that on the other side, it would give us kind of a boogeyman, someone who was tactically brilliant and was able to use the machines and their capabilities in their best strength against our magic and shifting alliances.
It could be interesting. I like that a lot, and it could be interesting if it was someone who maybe was a magic user at one point.
Yeah, they defected.
Oh, I would like that.
Following kind of that Thrawn thing of like, against all odds, this person was a person who was able to rise up the ranks somehow, even though for all intents and purposes, that side would typically not like them.
Could they be a like I think someone said this headmaster of a school?
Well, no, that was the illusion wizard.
I mean, what about this one as well? I mean, they could totally be at odds. They could be from the same school. One's
that makes it very personal.
Exactly.
At least for them.
Oh, I like the idea that these two that the heroes knew each other before everything went down, and maybe even were kind of friends.
Yeah.
I feel like we're describing somebody else's D&D game. Like that was the pregame.
That's fine. Let them be the pregame.
Enjoy that.
But maybe they had a duel. Maybe they fought each other, and that's what kind of brought the war to a standstill. And
then
our
it
guy
would have killed him.
Right.
Okay.
So they decided to kind of settle the conflict between the two of them. Our guy lost, thus putting us on the losing side of the war.
Even though he was the entire, or she, or they were like the entire time our top person, and then it came to this final battle, and it showed that the cold, like the more cold, methodical one won.
Mm-hmm.
How do we feel about them being gay lovers?
I am so for it.
Sounds great. I
And
think
they
we're in.
Push that Dumbledore and Grindelwald.
I want to do it. Except they'll actually be gay.
Bless.
Yes.
Throws Wampa.
Girl.
Well, chat definitely approves of that as well.
Speaking of Star Wars,
I like that you
One or
have
two.
your support plushies. Mine
do.
are too far for hugs.
I need my Porg too. My Porg is a little bit far away right now, but they're so
Okay.
cuddly.
Do we want to name them, or do we want to save that for so that we do off screen? I won't put anyone
Maybe
under
save
pressure.
it. Maybe save it for off screen so we have time to think about it.
Or we
Yes,
can do,
please.
like you can do a bunch of names and then throw it up in Twitter for a poll.
Yeah.
Yes,
I like that
chat
idea.
if you've got any suggestions, because otherwise I'm going to fantasy name generator.
Same.
Well, the
That's
other
how I
thing
do.
the other thing that I like to do, both for names for characters but also for NPCs, is if you consider a concept or an idea of something that is important to that character, and then do translate and find a word for that in another language,
Yep.
that gives you like some really good names.
I do it all the time. It's the best
Yeah.
thing ever.
I
My
do that
only
for me.
concern with that, the only concern I ever have with that is if you don't know the language super well, be careful. Because you might not be getting what you think you're getting.
And
Well,
then you
I-
get soup.
True. Although I'm not getting it tattooed on my body, and I will generally change a letter anyway, so it's
Yeah.
not that big a deal.
I just, as a general rule of thumb, that's why I always go straight to fantasy name generator, or I put like apostrophes and weird things. And
I'm a big fan of Puritan names.
oh yeah,
Just straight up, like open a book, doesn't matter where you point, just pick that's your name now. But that's for my games, because
You will be purity.
Yes.
Yeah.
You are, I will face God and walk backwards into hell.
Johnson.
So I'm thinking 3 nations on each side. Does that sound fair?
Yeah.
Sure.
We've got for the arcane side or the magic side, you've got arcane magic, you've got divine magic, and also druidic magic, which I will consider separate in this realm.
Okay.
Okay.
And then the 3 sides on the other sides, what would those 3 sides of the machines be?
I mean, going back to how we think that they were able to unify quicker because of the fact that they all believed in technology. I think it's just more of a one created, like, going back to the kind of like one is like the Elon Musk and was able to create like a really efficient type of machine that is maybe like saves energy and powers energy from the sun. Like maybe there's someone who created like the solar side of it, and like they each were just basically creating different innovations, which is why they were able to like get together instead of having the philosophical arguments of who's better.
Mm-hmm.
What if they each each nation was known for a thing, and those 3 things came together to form like synergized really well and became like part of a war machine. So maybe there was one that was really good with electricity, and one that was really good with precision gearing, and one was really good with metals or other technology.
I was gonna say one that had resources to fuel, one that had that just had the universities or whatever that started churning out these intelligent people, and one that just had the economy to put it all together.
Yeah, maybe one was like very, very good at weapons.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically,
that's what I was thinking. I was thinking maybe one was like utility, one was weapons, one was defense. Like they were very much regimented.
I like that, the weapons, mobility, and defense.
I'm sorry if you hear dogs barking.
We forgive you.
It's okay.
I can only do so much about 1-year-old puppies.
Oh.
You can bring them on stream. That's something you can do.
That is true.
They're tackling each other and playing right now. They get upset at me if I split them up.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, you're good.
Chat had a suggestion that the names of the two lovers should be Adam and Jason.
No.
And then somebody switched it up a little and said Mata and Nojas.
Nojas.
Or is it Nohas?
Or Nohas. But
I'm gonna leave that one to somebody else.
Yeah, I agree. But I just want to make sure everyone is getting their dollars worth here.
Oh, I see it.
See it. I'm looking at it right now. I like the Voltron suggestion.
Yeah.
They are both Voltron. Voltron Senior and Voltron Senior.
I assume that was more towards our engine enemies that they created a Voltron.
I'm teasing. No, yeah. Names are hard.
Names are so hard.
So, what I've got here, and I think we're probably going to stick with this unless you guys want to veto anything. So, one nation was weapons and power, so energy sources and what have you. The second one was mobility and utility. They could move around faster than the other nation, and also had, stuff like elevators and whatnot. And the third one had defense and shielding. They didn't move very often, but they had very strong shields.
Yeah.
Sound good?
Dig it. Yeah.
I think that sounds good.
Okay. Sounds great.
And of course, those three would totally team up and just try and take over everything because, that makes sense.
That's what you do.
Mm-hmm.
Except now I'm sure there are tensions between the nations because the different leaders probably want to be more in charge than they are.
Oh, yeah.
But they think they know better, too.
Yep.
Yeah, I think so. So I'm sorry, go ahead.
They're at peace as long as there's a war.
It's a good phrase. A very good phrase. Okay, so this pretty much covers most of the world building that I was going to go through today.
Good night, everyone.
That was the big grand scheme world building stuff. I've got enough pieces now that I can start pulling everything together and building this world for you. Now we can actually get into character creation. This is the thing that normally takes like 3 days. So, before we get into actual race, class, what have you, do you guys want to do character connections first, or do you want to build your character and then connect it thusly?
Let's build the character first. We know what we're connecting.
Okay.
I agree.
Yeah.
All right. So, we're going to use standard array for your character stats.
You don't want the chaos of rolling?
You take that chaos and you go play in another game with that. Thank you. I tried that and I was like, I really want to make this one type of character. And then I rolled my dice and I'm like, human fighter it is.
Yeah, no, it screwed me over on a different game recently. So a standard array is nice because you can be balanced. How do I get zoom back to normal?
You can never go back to normal.
And that's the 15, 14, 13, 12, 10, 8?
That is correct. It is also on page 13 for those of you at home.
Oh, where did I put my book? It's right there. It's so close.
Oh, I thought you. Oh, I'm thinking something else. I've never done standard array actually. I've only done point buy or rolling. Those are the only two ways I've made characters in 13 years of D&D.
Sorry, repeat the numbers for. Never mind. I'm using D&D Beyond.
Yeah. What are? I don't have. What are the numbers?
It's 15, 14, 13, 12, 10, 8.
I did not.
15, you can be really shitty at something.
Yes.
15,
Yep.
14.
Yeah.
15, 14, 13?
Yep.
Yeah.
10, 8. I did not hear all of them.
12. There's also
12. Yeah.
Wow, I never have a character with an 8 if I can help it.
That's what makes it fun, because you've got something that you're bad at.
I do like min-maxing when it comes to games like this.
I just try not to ever have a negative, like, when it comes to D&D. If I can avoid having one negative, I will not have a negative. I've definitely been bad at things.
Mm-hmm.
But I consider 0 bad at things.
Yeah. I just need to build the character around the negative. Like, why do I have a negative? Here's why.
Here's story.
Mm-hmm.
I look for more negatives. It's more fun.
Yeah, I do like the ability to have a negative. The problem I have is just like sometimes you roll like shit.
That's the thing. I'm always like, once you have a character that you build and then for some reason you just always roll badly and you're like, well, this character I built is completely useless somehow.
I'll check all the traps, guys.
With my face.
Oh.
Face checks.
All right. Yeah. I mean, I know the kind of character I want to build.
Okay.
Same.
For those of you that have an idea of what characters you want to build, so it sounds like everyone. Nick, do you have a character concepts?
I do. If we want to go around and kind of talk about those for a while.
Yeah, I'm gonna do this one in reverse. Just want to make sure I didn't like put you in the spotlight and you're like, I'm not ready yet. Don't come to me.
No worries.
All right, Joey. Let's start with you, bud.
All right, cool. So I'm looking at building a half-elf bard. Don't laugh at me, Clara. Don't laugh at me either, chat.
I'm laughing with you.
Mm-hmm.
We're enjoying this moment.
Yes. My concept is I kind of want him to... I want to build my idea of like a serious bard. And so my concept is he believes that he's going to take it on himself to preserve in the fact that we lost the war, especially if it's magic versus anti-magic. I don't want them to take that away from us. I don't want people to take our culture and our art away from us. And I think that art and culture and music is the only way to keep our nation alive. I'm kind of basing it off a quote I learned in college in my theater degree. Doctors save lives, but artists make life worth saving.
Ooh.
So that's kind of my general elevator pitch for him.
I like that a lot. Okay. And you said you want to be a half elf or a full elf?
Half elf.
Okay. That's an interesting concept. I'm liking where this is going. So, how does the Machine Empire treat art? Do they respect it, or do they feel they've got better art than you?
I think it's different.
Yeah, I think it's a completely different style of art. I feel like our art is tied to our culture and it's part of our identity. And that's what I'm trying to preserve. I don't want them to invade and turn us completely over to them and lose everything that we were. We were fighting for a reason. Even if we lost the war, I don't want to lose the reason why we fought.
I see. Okay.
And I want to try to inspire others to keep that going as well.
All right. So.
Or maybe there's some things like our art embraces, chaos and the randomness of nature and things that develop organically, and their art is very much by the numbers. Like, that's not art, that's just flinging paint around. It's not art unless it's painted in this style.
Yes.
Like that.
Very much the conceit of the poetry class in Dead Poet Society. If anybody's familiar with that movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That whole, here's how you judge a poem. Here's a grading scale on if a poem is good. Yeah, we don't believe in that. A poem is good because here X, Y, and Z.
Right, it moved you.
Feel something. Exactly.
This is lifted directly from Leviathan by Scott Westerfeld. I'm going to add it to the reading list.
Okay, jotting that down.
In it is World War I rewritten to be about the clankers, who are steampunk, versus the Darwinists, who use genetically modified monsters. It's very cool. But one of the things they talk about, they use in their visual design of the book and in that world, is that the clankers are all very Art Deco in their designs, very rigid, very almost sometimes brutalist. And the Darwinists, who are more about nature in this world, are very Art Nouveau.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
Or art, like even romantic art. I think that there's something to be seen in that visually. I know that we're kind of talking more about how it makes you feel because you're a musician. But just for some visual
that's perfect. That's exactly perfect. I love that.
Yeah.
Well, it also could even be for music-wise, it could even be the difference of maybe our side prefers the more acoustic sound. Like we are, like the more like wooden, like the flutes and things like that. It's a little bit more light. It's a little bit more airy. Whereas like the industrial side is more technological. Yeah.
But it's all I can imagine it's more brassy, more marching bandy, more
oh yeah.
rigid.
I would say if you're a trash person like me and like get this involved, it would be like the difference between like romanticism when it comes to music versus like Baroque music.
Oh, I was literally what you were just describing is I feel like we are the Rococo fun kind of light and airy people, or we were, and we very much were into the romantics and like Enlightenment, like that's all of our stuff, and they were like the technological revolution, they're Baroque. Everything is just real
loud
dark and cool.
Yeah, I was thinking a lot of just like Debussy when I was thinking about our kind of music. I don't know.
I like it.
Yeah.
I dig it. But yeah, so that's kind of what I'm thinking.
I love it.
I was an art history major, so we talk art. I'm like, yeah.
We're about jazz, man. Not about
I will say I was an art history major who switched to engineering, so like I'm a weirdo.
You betrayed us.
I'm two of the two.
You were the chosen one.
That's an interesting concept.
That's a really good, I just character concept, yo.
Yeah.
But that's not my character.
All right, Blythe, are you ready to talk about your character concept?
So I kind of wanted to go into this kind of world of these, like a group of philosophers and kind of like monks and warriors who kind of, because our side has always needed some kind of defense. Like, it's not that you can't have the people who know how to fight and do things. Like, you still need them. So I kind of wanted to go into this, like, I kind of wanted to have a character who was who was a member of a group of elite warriors who used arcane magic mixed with martial fighting to basically they were kind of originally the top of the line of defense until an all-out war happened, and then it kind of became like they became the generals and like the different people.
They had to use a clone army to fight them back. Okay.
Yeah, shush. Too much Star Wars Rebels, yo.
Listen, if you want to play a Jedi, just say so. That's fine.
I just want to play a Jedi.
Okay.
Because you took Star Wars away from me.
I didn't. That's a conversation off street, but yeah.
I'm teasing.
No, you cannot play a ninja.
No, I want to play a Jedi, someone who is good and driven by the forces of good.
Okay.
But I want to play a character. I want her to have a little bit of like PTSD and stuff though, so it's a little bit more like maybe she struggled a little bit trying to stay on the more like good side. Maybe she turned to some darker magic and forces.
Okay.
So she's a little bit morally gray compared to what the warriors were known for.
Oh, of course,
if you meet another
shit.
Huh?
Maybe some demon shit.
Oh yeah, no, I want to play. The race I want to play is literally connected to extraplanar magic.
All right. So what is your class character build? We're just for those of you at home. We're starting at 3rd level because that's when everything fun happens.
Preach.
So
yeah. Well, I wanted to mix. I wanted to mix monk with blade singing wizard.
Monk.
But not playing an elf because we can do whatever the heck we want.
We're taking all the stuff off, all the trappings.
But since we're starting at 3rd level, I will only have really been trained in monk unless we can figure out some kind of feat that I can take that will have allowed me to have like magic or something.
Well, there's magic initiate, I think, which is one of the feats.
Yeah.
Or arcane initiate or something. It's been a minute.
There is something that I think I can do to get a magic. I mean, but I picked a race specifically with like mental disciplines and like different psychic like stuff.
Okay. What was the race?
Kalishtar.
I'm gonna pretend like
I feel like we'll have to homebrew the lore a little bit behind how they work.
Oh yeah, I mean, we'll definitely
instead of making them connected to the plane of dreams, like they're connected to like a deeper arcane magic, the Force.
You know, I've been playing a bunch of Final Fantasy, so the idea of magic users tied to a crystal of some kind that powers the magic of the lands, and you having to defend that from an invading force sounds kind of cool, but that's just me. Maybe
I totally. If we want to lean full into Jedi-ness, I will have a crystal weapon that I have a deep connection to.
Crystalline blade still does 1d6, but magic 1d6.
No, I'd want it to be a staff because I'm a dual saber user, 2-sided.
All right. He, him, she, her, they, them.
She, her.
She, her. Okay.
And he, him, for me.
Okay. We'll go over descriptions and whatnot. Probably the first session that we play. This way you guys can roll around for a bit, see how you feel. And I'm also allowing everyone to restat their characters and rebuild them mechanically up to 5th level. At 5th level, you're now locked into whomever you are.
Okay.
But your ties, your background, everything must still stay the same. So if you were like a blade singing wizard and you're like, I don't want to be a wizard anymore, I want to be a machinist, well, that's not going to work. But if you wanted to switch over to be a sorcerer, fine, totally cool.
Cool.
Blythe, in terms of what you're describing for like a dual wielder or a staff thing, if this is permitted, you might want to look at the Eberron setting, and the elves in that setting have like a weapon called a double scimitar. And It might be fun to restat that and make that kind of like your staff/blade weapon.
Writing that down.
Yeah.
That sounds really cool.
I think if
I mean, I can't really show it on stream very well because it's too big, but this connects to another one.
Cool.
Show off.
Am I a Star Wars nerd?
I couldn't tell.
I don't think so.
No, that doesn't track.
Yeah.
No, doesn't add up.
Okay.
You can't see all my Harry Potter stuff either, so.
I think definitely we will homebrew something regarding the double scimitar and possibly make it crystalline or energy powered. Maybe it has a limited source, or we'll workshop it, but we'll release it online so that if you folks at home want to use this stuff in your own game, take it. It's free. Enjoy. So let's move on. Clara.
So I wanted to play something that I'm not playing in any of my other 2 5e games I'm now in, because quarantine has done things to me. So I think I'm gonna play a rogue.
Okay.
Just a full on straight like rogue, no multi-classing yet. Specifically, I think I wanted to play. I kind of want to play a huckster.
Huckster. Okay.
Someone who looked at the war and was like, I gotta look out for me.
And an opportunist.
Yeah, an opportunist, like with a heart of gold at some point. I'm
Found
sure.
our Han Solo.
Oops. Also,
Star
I
Wars
wanted to,
nerds.
look. What I really want to do is be Tulio and make Joey be Miguel. So, yes,
Strumming intensifies.
yes.
Okay.
I think they did fight. I think they were part of the, like, I think everyone fought. But I think she's sort of like, I'm done with that. I want to make as much money as I can, pick an island, be queen, and fuck all y'all.
Okay.
But like not.
All right. I dig that.
I don't know how to describe that.
No. That sounds great. So you were an opportunist early on in the war. You saw possibly that everyone's spinning their wheels. If you just took this piece here, took that piece there, went over to that island where they need these pieces, you could rule. But maybe
Yeah,
it didn't
that was
work
the
out.
plan. I don't think it went well.
Maybe.
Well,
you were
I'm
no.
with y'all now.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, that is the end goal. If we can get from A to B, that would be great. But it turns out there were a lot of letters in between.
Yeah. Wait, what? Okay.
So Clara, chat is suggesting that you might want to look at the Mastermind archetype in D&D. I'm not sure which expansion it's in. Maybe
I'll find it.
Xanathar's, but we'll track it down.
It's really
Awesome,
it's a really
thank
cool
you.
class.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Uh,
Okay.
There's also
There's a moth.
Careful, it
there's
bites.
also a monk now that is back from the, or not a monk, a rogue that comes back from the dead, and it's kind of a cool role play mechanic. So if you want to look at that, it's called the Revived.
Hold on. I can be a possum rogue.
Yes.
That's how you break in. You pretend to be dead. They bring you in to bury you, and then you're like, "Ha! I'm actually alive."
It's
Oh shit, yes.
you literally I'm playing it in a different campaign, but it's literally that you have died and come back and now have a connection to death. Is cool.
I kind of really love that.
Just,
Let me see if I can find it, and that might actually inform a lot of good character stuff.
Let me know if you go that way, because I have a thing in my back head. My back head. That's a good word. $2 word, folks. In the back of my head / backstory that kind of deals with people at time of death. So that could be an interesting thing for us to play with.
Oh, okay.
Right. Clara, do you know what race you want to play?
Anything but human. I'm looking at half elf right now because you get a charisma bonus.
We'll leave question marks there because I'm okay taking races that are not of the main sets. If you want to expand or pull something from whatever and we homebrew it, cool.
I considered changeling as well, just because it's like a changeling rogue is a pretty easy thing to swing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm not playing D&D to be a human. Is my answer.
Human fighter? No. I got
somebody finally. I did on Twitter, and people got mad at me, and I was like, "Why do you want to play humans?"
I'm a human, less than most people, but like more than I'd like to be.
Same.
Okay. So I'm gonna leave question marks here for now for your race, but we'll get back to that.
Yeah, I think for Kalishtar too, I might want to tweak appearance because they're supposed to look human, but I might want to see if we could go a little less human looking.
A little less human, like one giant eye in your middle of your head. No,
not quite that, but not wrong. Maybe.
How many arms do you want?
3,
5.
but not in a very helpful way. Like one that's like just out of your back leg.
Some Fallout mutation stuff right there.
I seriously, this quarantine has made me itching to run a Fallout game, just where I wear the jumpsuit and become the overseer. Just cast from home.
Listen, I would play in that campaign so much because I love Fallout though. Like I love it so much.
I have a parlor LARP that involves a quarantine situation. I'll send it to the chat later.
Appreciate it. Thank you. All right, Nick.
I am thinking about playing a probably some sort of cleric of knowledge. I like the idea of kind of being the guardian of magical knowledge, or maybe knowing a great secret. I see the character as being very much like a a researcher and part of an order that preserves knowledge, seeks out knowledge, but also maintains a connection to the body as well. So I'm thinking about multi-classing into monk. I'm not 100% sure on this yet, but I thought maybe going with some cleric and some monk, and that way I've got, mind-body connection, all involved.
What if you decide to go that route, that could be an interesting way for our characters to have met.
Yeah, I think that might be a good connection.
Like you were the scholarly side of my order, and I was the more magic combat based side.
Sure. No, I think that works if you have sort of like the council of elders or knowledge. Hey, we're going there. The Jedi Council, and then the Jedi Knights, and then they kind of work in tandem, being protectors and archivists as well as being an enforcement.
You had all your holocrons.
You'd be like a Jedi Seeker, someone who goes out and hunts down holocrons and what have you.
Right, finds knowledge, finds information. I'm thinking of playing the character as being kind of older, and so in my head, I am kind of seeing like a smaller, older character. Right now, I've kind of half built around using the Wood Elf template, but that was just for the min-maxing bonuses. Hey, I'll be honest. I mean, if I'm going for Dex and Wisdom, I want to find a race that does that.
Absolutely.
And the other option there is Kenku, which is also kind of interesting, but I'm not sure if that how that would work. I actually kind of have always wanted to play one, so I'm kind of into that, but I don't know. You
want to play Kenku? Go ahead and play Kenku. I mean,
okay.
What was the hang up, I guess? Was it like their lack of verbal skills, or?
A little bit like that. Like I was reading something about them where they really recommend don't try and just make noises and make all of your party members guess, because that gets really irritating really quick.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But instead just kind of describe the noises that you're making and the things that you're saying as well.
You could also speak sign language, or one of us could speak Kenku.
Okay. I was gonna say
could be. Oh, sorry.
The race I have psychically can speak with people, so maybe I just have I know what you're saying.
we could Han and Chewie it like
right.
All of us just know.
All of us just know what you're saying, and no one else does.
We could do something like that. I mean, although they do also mimic things that people say. So I feel like there is obviously some verbal capability, because you can imagine that someone, you heard someone order a burger once, and so now you can order a burger.
Yeah. I would just sit there and be like, now say fart. Like.
That's right. I only curse.
Yeah, you only curse, because that's what
I hung out with a lot of sailors.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to put a restriction on you as far as verbal limitations. Speak as much or as little as you'd like, because I know that can get old real quick. Like, oh yeah, at first it's fun. Then it's like, I got to tell these guys about this trap, and I don't want to squawk here for half an hour.
Right.
Trying to get it across.
So I'll kind of consider that. I'll take a look. I'll take a look at that and see if that concept works.
Okay.
But definitely kind of like an older, more scholarly individual, but who also has some reserves of energy and power.
Okay. All right. So, sounds like everyone's got a general idea. I'm sorry. Nick, he, her, she, them, they.
Currently he, him, but I might go they, them. I'm debating.
Okay. I will leave that one open. Follow up with you later. Okay. Everyone sounds like they kind of have an idea of what they're doing. Well, it's a mixed idea. You have some people that know what they're doing pre-war, some during the war, some post-war. So I guess let's roll it backwards. Pre-war, what was your life like? Feel free to jump in, whomever has the idea first. I mean, it's okay to be scholars and to maybe temple life is boring, and it was the thing you did because that's what you did. Maybe you're craving excitement and adventure.
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking I'm gonna lean very much into she was young when she was put into the order, and like basically that was her life. But she was a knight, so like she did get to go out and do some like more exciting things than like some of the others might have gotten to do.
Mm-hmm.
Like she was there young, she was raised there young, doesn't really have an idea of who her family was. And I think before pre-war, she was gung-ho. She was drinking the Kool-Aid. She was about everything. Like, she thought everything they were doing was right. And then when war happened, she basically kind of realized, oh, I wasn't prepared for what an actual war meant. And like through mental training and fortitude, she was able to keep her cool during it, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to say, like, I think during the war, she had something really traumatic happen that kind of made her rethink everything she'd ever been taught.
Okay.
I think for me, our character came of age during the war.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he enlisted into the war effort. I think he had an older brother who was in the war, who was of age already when the war started, and kind of wanted to be like him and go and fight for what was right and do all that great stuff. But he didn't have like the warrior's ambition. He wasn't super into the war, and the way he found himself keeping himself sane was throwing himself into his music. And I think he would write songs and write little ditties or whatever about the people he served with,
Mm-hmm.
and that's kind of how he found his sanity during the war.
Okay. Clara and Nick, you guys have any ideas of what your characters were doing pre-war?
I do, but I'm replying to some chat here real quick.
Okay,
so
no worries.
I'll hold off for a second.
Let's jump over to Clara then.
I think I kind of, for this particular character, I think I'm okay with having I say I think I'm okay, like it's not okay other times. I'm just weird. I definitely think that she had something like she was living a quiet life before, and then something about the war just like activated Slytherin mode. Like I don't want to go as far as like her whole family is dead, because I hate that. I think, but like I think I'll have to think about it more.
Okay.
Right now, I'm kind of going between defecting from maybe being a refugee from the other the winners, basically.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Like having been a casualty of the actual fighting, and therefore, like, fuck it, or having like come from some place of power and then being like, I'm gonna do my own thing now, and it's gonna be swindle. It's gonna be petty theft. So
that's fair. I mean, people, abandoning their homes and whatnot. I mean, it's a prime opportunity for looting. So it's just a fact of what it is. All right.
I think there's just something. It's just like the quiet. I think that like she didn't gel with the quiet life. But never had the opportunity to take it to do anything else. And now the world is upside down, and you know what? I'm gonna do my own thing now.
Were you possibly conscripted by the machine, the Empire Engine? Did they just say, "Oh, you're of age. You're now working for us," and you're like, "What's to that? I didn't sign up for this."
Yeah, if I take the revived, I definitely died for the other country.
Okay.
Like,
really
whether
cool.
that was my choice or not.
I've served. You already got me dead once.
Yeah. Yeah, this is like marriage till death, right? I can go now.
If you go that route, was that what flipped the switch and made you be out for yourself? Like maybe you were actually drank the Kool-Aid and were on that side, but once you died for them, you went, this isn't worth it, and I'm just going to be looking out for number one.
Yeah, I think that works. Let me see it. I like that. I'm trying to find Revived on here. I found Mastermind.
Revived is definitely on D&D Beyond because that's where I found it.
I'm gonna have to just look.
But I mean, even if you don't go Revived, you can still use the concept of having appeared to have died.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe the other side healed you and saved you.
Left for dead.
There was definitely there was definitely like an aspect of like, oh yeah, okay, I'm here, I'm doing the thing. I guess oh okay, no bye. I guess I died. All right.
I like that.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, where is it?
All right, Nick, do you have... Go ahead.
Is Revived... I thought that was only UA right now.
It is.
Okay.
I was using it, so I don't know.
Okay.
We'll pull it in.
I found it under UA, but you should be able to use UA.
Okay. Well, especially in this homebrew world.
Yeah.
Is it a class? Sorry, is it a class or is it a...
It's a subclass of rogue.
Yeah, it's a subclass.
Mm-hmm.
So all right, I'm going to go search.
It would be your third level specialty, basically.
Yeah.
It looks like someone in chat put a link. I'm going to toss it in the Slack and see if that works for you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
awesome.
chat.
Thank you, chat. I also like Mastermind. Mastermind is really cool, but I think it's just more advanced than my character's going to get for this game.
Okay. I mean, if you get to a certain point, you're like, I want to switch it over. Yeah, we'll figure it out. All right.
But the emo.
Okay, so I believe that my character's name is Maktaba.
Oh.
And Maktaba, prior to the war, I think was an archivist, a researcher, and a traveler who looked for new magic, new knowledge, new information, and went out, scribed it, brought it home to the monastery, for lack of a better word, to archive it so that the unique things that were being created were being preserved and stored, and sort of worked with this temple of knowledge that kept all of that information together so that it was available for all peoples. And I think that he did that for many years. As one of the people who tracked down and researched and found that information. And then over time, as he got older, got more and more into being an archivist and writing up treaties about things, and wanted to collate that information and guard it more than finding new information, making sure that the information that was brought to him was correctly cataloged and cross-referenced and all that sort of things. So a long time ago, he probably had more physical skills, and some of that's deteriorated now as he's gotten older, or they've gotten older, depending on what pronoun I'm going to use. I'm not sure.
Okay.
For the character. And I think that my kind of idea is that up into the war, he might have been still kind of pressed into service out in the field as the fighting was happening, because as things were being destroyed, as knowledge was becoming lost, he was desperately and frantically trying to grab what he could and save that information and save that knowledge so that it could be passed on and used later, and not just destroyed in the vagaries of war.
Okay, I'm definitely sensing a theme here, and definitely some missions that overlap with other characters. So, during the war, would you guys have come together as part of a squad of some kind? Would you have worked together?
I mean, it sounds like two of us definitely would have.
I think that there is definitely a good connection between Blythe's character and my character. If as I got older, I needed someone who could do more of the physical work,
mm-hmm.
and be a protector. And so I could definitely see the two characters going out and maybe even doing raids during the war to like sneak in, get some information and sneak back out, or even just, save people who had information that hadn't been recorded, or just things in that general nature. I don't want to say that, like, I don't think that it was like a Master Padawan type situation, but
No.
but definitely like two people who are working for a similar aim.
Well, maybe we met. Maybe one of my posts was guard. Like, maybe I was sent to guard the temple that you specifically put, like, that you archived things at. Like, maybe I was sent to guard that. So we met there. And then during the war, it became a, like, I can help you get information and protect people. And I became, like, we kind of became, maybe we started, like, transporting diplomats and stuff, like trying to make sure that people who had knowledge and power, like, we could protect them.
Okay.
Yeah, I definitely see that could work.
Like, you weren't my master per se, but it was like you were definitely a master compared to my level, whereas I was sent to, like, guard and be like an actual guardian of the temple.
Right.
I was not prepared for war because I don't think before that my girl was ever, like, she was sent into the field, but it wasn't war. It wasn't, like, really fighting. It was like kind of just like, hey, can you go get these, like, artifacts and things and bring them back safely? Like, I feel like that's what she did a lot. She was more of like an archaeologist, but she kept being like, when do I get to fight? And then fighting came to her.
Right.
You're the two sides of
really
Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
And then she realized she didn't like fighting as much as she thought she did.
Okay.
I might just go the route of her master having been, like, the one who actually was her, like, teacher got killed.
Mm-hmm.
And that was when she kind of realized, and then the rest of the order didn't really seem to care.
That's fair.
I would say that it's not that they didn't care. I think that they probably just didn't have time.
It came across to her as if they didn't care. Like, it was kind of just like, this is war. We can't deal with this now. Bye. But it sounds like for Clara's character, maybe we found you if you're going the route of you died or seemed dead, maybe we found you shortly after, maybe we helped you.
I actually wanted to jump over real quick because you guys have a pretty good connection, you and Nick. So I wanted to jump over to Clara and Joey and see if there's a connection there, and then maybe we can connect all four together.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so one of my things I was thinking about, again, kind of playing into the using music to get myself through the insanity of war, is I think one of the things my character would do would be play, like, he wrote a song to play for people who are passing, to kind of ease their passing into death. So maybe doing that is where I found Clara's character. Maybe if, we thought she was actually dead, we pulled her in. I don't know if that works for you, Clara, at all.
I mean, I'm definitely okay with that. I have to figure out how I died, among other things. So yeah, no, that works. I mean, what keeps you around now? Because I'm not a nice person, or at least I don't seem like a good person.
May I make a suggestion here?
Please.
Yeah.
If you do go with the revived, what if the one time, and we don't know why, your song actually helped or appeared to bring back Clara's character,
mm-hmm.
and maybe the connection that you have with me is that you came to my temple to try and research and find information about why that happened. Now, I don't know how that's exactly going to go with your characters, but that might be some way to integrate.
I do kind of like that. I mean, I think that could work.
It's definitely not like a normal thing. In the revived backstory thing, it actually, it's like by level 3 you realize that you died once before, but we can waive that away because this is all homebrew. A couple, like, it has some really interesting things. Like, I don't need to sleep or drink or breathe. So it's like, wow, this is real fun. but it means that you have a close personal, you kind of have a relationship with a previous, you probably kind of, not a relationship, but something brought you back and you kind of still have a relationship with it, it looks like.
Mm-hmm.
And you start remembering your past life. So it's starting to look like I actually don't know what happened before I died.
Interesting.
That could be really interesting.
As much as I hate as a concept, I'm okay with because I trust y'all.
All right, you're kind of a blank slate trying to figure out who you were before you died.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to. I would like to. Sorry, my internet connection got unstable. I would like to, as a player, have fleshed out. I'd like to, as a player, have fleshed out a little bit of what I was like before I died.
Okay.
Because I personally find that it can be kind of a cop out. Or I mean, it's a really, really good crutch for people. It's a really good ability when people aren't comfortable making up backstories and characters and stuff. But either working with Jameson off camera or even today here, I think I want to figure out more like something, or else it's like air blank slate, have fun.
I don't want to force you into a situation that you don't like. But what if this is a sort of a unique thing and your character is somehow actually tied to Joey's song, and maybe you need him to sing at you regularly, or maybe there's like a distance thing involved or something that you start to die again if you're too far away from him. It's a little railroady, but it kind of links your characters.
Joey, are you okay with something like that?
I would be okay with something like that. I mean, I think it could be really interesting.
I love having that built-in weakness, if that's a thing.
Oh, because if you did that, you could be coming to us to be like, how do we undo?
Can I either be dead or alive?
How did this happen, and how can we stop it?
Yeah,
and not kill you in the process.
Right.
Yes, I would like to not be dead. Whatever this is, it's not living.
Because I also imagine the temple that we were at was also kind of a college or a school. Like it's a place of knowledge where people could go and visit regularly. Like you didn't have to be a member of the order to use the knowledge. You just had to be someone who studied magic.
Yeah, I think that there are probably, like most organizations and libraries and things like that, there's the general access that people can have, that people can come and visit, and then there's more important or powerful stuff that is hidden away.
Members only.
Yeah.
The stuff we don't want the enemies getting.
Right. Or even just that we don't want, like, you don't put the gun in the hands of a 3-year-old because they don't understand how it works and what's going to happen. The same way you wouldn't put powerful magics in the hands of, Clem, who it wants to curse his neighbor because he stole a cow.
Fair
That's
point.
a valid reason.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay.
This is cool.
Ah.
I'm excited for the concept of an ex, because like if you don't remember a lot about your life, then like, did you find her? Like if she was part of the other side, would you have found her in her uniform then? And like, would you know who she, like, that she was a member of that side, but you don't tell her?
Oh shit!
Wow.
Like, yes, and here's why. Here's why. So I'm changing my backstory a little bit. So it was a sister who went off to fight in the war before me instead of a brother.
Ooh.
And something about her reminds me of my sister. Not my sister, and I know that, but something about her reminds me of my sister.
I was like, we getting real soap opera-y.
I don't know. There's some great role playing going on here. I'm down for all of it.
I'm really excited to have gone somewhere and been like, and like see, like to go places and be like, isn't that you? Like, isn't that your photo? And people will be like, nah, that's weird. That's not me.
Yeah, I think what happened is I put you in one of our uniforms so I could bring you back to our side to revive you.
Yes.
Or like took off the insignia.
Exactly, because I knew if they knew who you were, they would have let you die or killed you on sight if I'd revived you, after I revived you. So I hid who you were from you and everybody else to make sure that we could figure out what this was and how I can help you.
Yes.
Oh.
I'm digging this. All right. So
I can't wait to have an evil twin.
One thing I definitely noticed is that all of you are after something. You're after knowledge. You're after arts. You're after gold. What have you? So the concept of you all being essentially dungeon raiders, as it were, where you look for artifacts and art that has either been lost to time, trying to reclaim it, possibly lost during the war, definitely rings true from what I'm hearing. Would you say that's accurate?
Yeah.
Kind of. I mean, I imagine me getting more from the people and being more involved with the people from our nation in general. So I like getting the culture from the people, from the actual source, and then using that to bolster them to keep the faith and to keep fighting for who they are is kind of what I'm going for. But recovering relics and things like that could do that too. It could easily be kind of a symbol of, I restored this to you, this is who you are, use this as a beacon to inspire yourselves to, exactly.
Well, maybe you turn it to song, and we're the ones, like, we are focused on the relic aspect, and you're more focused on the, like, personal stories. Maybe you can scribe things and stuff.
I love that. Yep.
If there are in Tomb of Annihilation, there are archaeologist and anthropologist backstories, and the thing is, those can work pretty well with exactly what you're talking about. If your focus is more on kind of interviewing people, getting their histories, their stories, inspiring them, making sure that they understand that just because we lost the war doesn't mean that, you know, we're worthless, or that we're not going to continue to persevere. Whereas, like, I see mine as being partly those oral traditions, partly that information, and then also things that people are working on and secrets. And maybe Clara is more interested in, like, finding the things that can be sold or that are valuable and that are worth something in order to go ahead and kind of have like a joint mission if we're in towns or areas that have been overrun or that have maybe lost some of that history or information.
That could also start off as a point of conflict. Like, maybe Clara's character is like, we should sell this, and they're like, we don't know if this could be a historical artifact.
It belongs in a museum.
Well, regardless, you don't have the funding you had before.
As you say, you know who pays a lot of money for stuff? Museums.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Clara can be in charge of getting jobs for you. Keep making sure that you stay in the air.
So we do have some information from chat. It's been suggested to look at the Monument Men for the World War II, who it was the Monuments, Fine Arts, and Archives program under the Civil Wars of the Civil Affairs and Military Government sections of the Allied armies established in 1943 to protect cultural property in war areas during and after World War II. So it was an actual group historically that kind of was doing what we're looking at recreating right here. So it might be something for us to look into for our reading list.
Maybe that's your connection, is that was your squad, is you went into, you were the Monument Men, we can rename it to whatever we'd like, and you went into the enemy lines and war zones to pull out this information in these people for preservation. I just want to throw this out there. How do you feel about calling this thing that Nick and Blythe belong to the Order?
That works.
Okay.
Sure.
Now.
I mean.
You mean because it's not the Jedi Order?
Of course not. We're just file those numbers right off. But the next part is, of course, everything.
Did the Order fall?
Yes.
Well, okay, so if I play a Kenku who have like those black eyes, this could be the Order of the Jet Eye. I know. I know. Can't stop, won't stop. Sorry.
But actually,
I'm only mad I didn't think you first. That's it.
Yeah, that's same.
Yeah, I think we all are. But that
So
actually
the
brings me
order.
to the next point. Yes, so it's called the order. Information and knowledge was being funneled there. They were fueling and feeding, I guess, supporting your endeavors. But I feel like there should be an event near the end of the war where the order is destroyed. And all of that knowledge that had been gathered, reclaimed there, is either lost, destroyed, or possibly dispersed throughout the lands. How do we feel about something like that?
Love it.
Yeah. Because I kind of see them, the way we could do that too is maybe because I feel like they had their hands in a lot of different things, like knowledge. They were the knowledge people, but they also had warriors. They also had politicians. So you could easily make an argument that they were a prime target for the other side. Basically, take out one of their prime sources of knowledge, and you disperse a lot of their powerful people.
I mean, they're striking at your heart, more or less. Yeah. You know, everyone is bound by this, and if you've lost all of your knowledge and your history and who you were, that kind of defeats the people morally.
Yeah. I'd also say they were part of the arcane nation. Probably. Because I feel like their power, like they have studies of all powers, but I feel like their magic was arcane focused.
Oh, I see. Yes.
That makes sense.
I see what you're saying. Sorry, I thought arcane versus technical nation. I'm like, well, clearly they're part of the arcane nation. Sorry, I was confused there for a second. We're all good.
Right.
We're fine.
We're all fine here now.
How are you?
I'm out of rum. That's how I am.
Why is all the rum gone?
Me too. I got to get out to a store one of these quarantine weeks.
But no, I love that. I love that. Love that so much.
Okay, so is this just like the Empire machine just showing up there in massive force and obliterating it, or was this the work of the Thrawn type character? Did he lead the charge?
Wait.
Go.
Illusion wizard guy, maybe he was the head of the order.
Okay.
And the Thrawn guy attacked it directly as like a big, I'm going to take you out and I'm going to take out everything you care about. Other than me, my lover.
Is there just a crater now where the temple used to be?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a big crater.
We could definitely say there are sub-basements and what have you for exploring.
Oh yeah, of course.
But yeah,
there were also other temples, I would imagine.
It could be a metaphorical crater.
It's an emotional crater.
That's the name of my new punk band.
Beat me to it.
Emotional crater.
I feel like that's more like sadcore music. Sad
it's your emo punk band.
Yeah, I feel like that is a band that is going to be formed by 5 people in quarantine. Crater. And everything is just streamed.
Okay.
And there was a cry. Did you hear that? It was like a bunch of musicians being silenced, crying out and being silenced all at once.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so what about if the Thrawn type person called out the illusionists, pulled them away from the actual the order in order to destroy it? It was a feint, as it were.
Absolutely. Ooh. Absolutely something that a Thrawn type character would do.
I'm sorry, could you say that again? I was replying to something.
No worries. So the idea is that the Thrawn type character called out the illusionist for a fight as a feint to lure him away from the order.
Okay.
And he's like, I'll wage everything on the war on this one fight. You beat me, you win. We'll call off all of our armies. And he gets pulled away, and then he just hammers the order.
Or even just that the strike occurred during the duel, during everything.
Oh, yeah.
So turn back around and so maybe even the illusionist won, quote, the encounter and walked away feeling triumphant, only to discover that their life's work had been annihilated.
And so many of the people were lost.
Mm-hmm.
I like this character. Now we can possibly roleplay with them. Where are they at now?
Yeah, no, we've got some ideas here.
Well, if he's the head of the order and he lost, he clearly went into exile somewhere.
Right.
We're just gonna remake Star Wars, guys. Buckle up.
I mean, I imagine that he is probably with the politicians trying to fix things, but feels like he can't really do much now. Like they kind of they were like, you were this big hero, but now it's kind of like, but you lost one of our most important things. So it's kind of this weird strained, like he's trying to do what's right to fix things, but I'm sure a lot of people have mixed feelings on whether or not he's actually a hero.
What if everyone blames him?
That's kind of what I was thinking.
He was away from the order. His illusion magic was focused on the fights, so they were able to target it and hit it hard.
Yeah.
How did you not see this coming?
And
Right.
he saved. Oh, sorry. Go.
I was just going to make a joke. I was just going to say, because I'm an illusionist, not a divination wizard.
But so what if the other attack was still an equally, kind of an almost equally important area?
Mm-hmm.
And so he did save a bunch of actually it was actually a really good win. But because of this loss, there's this mixed feeling of
right.
How much of a hero is he really?
Oh, what if this was the Druidic nation? He was at their capital.
Yeah.
It was like, I will level this entire place unless you fight me, and let's put everything on the table. And yeah, he went there to save the Druidic people, and they look at him as a hero. But everyone from the Arcane nation is like, idiot! Come on, you left us defenseless.
Even on top of that, it's like you let your pride. You thought that this would be this would be done with the duel, and so you went in Leroy Jenkins style to do this duel rather than the plan.
Right.
I don't know.
Well, because he's got that history with him, he's like, yeah, he let his emotions run over him.
And they were both members of this order together.
Of course.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And they were dating.
Oh yeah.
And then...
I think we've established they were in a relationship.
Oh yeah, no, they're very gay.
And this is why you don't shit where you eat.
That's true.
But
it's true.
Do 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 do.
It was just we'll rank up together and it'll be great. And then they started having disagreements as they got more power.
Exactly.
Yeah, one of them got better.
The Thrawn character wanted to have more power, wanted to be the leader of the Order.
And did not get there.
Did not get it. Anakin Skywalker style. Said, sorry, I'm jealous. I'm going to kill all the younglings.
You were the chosen one!
Annie!
Breaking my heart!
Oh, I love this so much.
You're going down a road I can't follow. I'm sorry, I'm done.
No, you're not.
No, I'm not.
No, you're not.
Don't ever be done.
It's also very Dumbledore and Grindelwald still. They were getting together and then their ideologies started to split.
Mm-hmm.
Clara's character died of a broken heart.
I was gonna say, I'm not dying of a broken heart. You can't make me. What does that mean? She died of poor writing. Didn't the writers write us too? Yes, we're doomed.
Oh, man.
Okay.
How very Spaceballs.
I'm gonna die over here.
What is this now? What about then? We already passed then. I'm loving all of this. Do we want to... And I'll actually throw this out to chat. Chat, do you want to name this event? What would this have been called? We can't just go with the fall of the Order because, that's... needs more dressing.
It's more of an ideological situation.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
This is a big
yes.
explosion.
Yeah, it was... I'm guessing, because I want to say, our characters were there, Nick, when it happened, probably. and we just had to escape and leave everything behind. Ooh, maybe that's the event that makes my girl regret war and fighting and like regret everything because she just saw the mass carnage and like many of her friends died that day.
Right.
Yeah, that would suck. Dying.
What if you stole one of the last order, not the last order, but one of the last of the order's airships?
Yeah, just to get out. Like, basically, it was like we had to get out. We tried to save who we could, but that wasn't many.
No.
Right. And you know, any kind of knowledge or other antiquities that could be rescued as well. Chat has a couple of suggestions here.
Mm-hmm.
Someone has suggested Gabriel or some other angel type name would be good irony for the betrayer boyfriend who went over to the tech side.
I like that.
Someone else has suggested there have been the suggestions of the vanishing and the schisming and the disorder for the for the attack and the event. So we can consider those.
Okay.
The Great Disorder.
I'm rolling that one around. I'm like, the disorder.
The vanishing is kind of interesting because it's like kind of a magical term almost. Like you made their knowledge and source of knowledge vanish.
Yeah, I kind of think that like there's probably different names for like different groups or different people have different names for it, and I think that in the order it might be called like the vanishing because exactly like you said, all of this knowledge, all of this information, gone, vanished as if it never existed.
Mm-hmm.
What about something like the Duskfall?
That feels more, what's the word? Appropriate in the sense that, like, I feel like it depending on how long it's been since it happened, it could have a nice, important name like the Duskfall or like, you know, the sun, the twilight, the dusk of the. Or if it happened fairly recently, I feel like it would have a more blunt name like the Vanishing or, you know, the Collapse.
So this is going to be taking place 5 years after your game is going to happen 5 years after these events.
Cool.
Okay.
What if it's like the something to do with burning? Like, because it's called our game is Dying Embers.
Mm-hmm.
What if it has something to do with burning or like scorching or
the conflagration?
Yes.
Conflagration.
Ooh, I love that. Yes, SAT word.
Wasn't an English major for nothing.
It all led up to this moment.
That's right. That's right. I'm done. I peaked.
I'm going to throw out some of
Look
the
at me now,
honorable
Mom.
mentions in the chat. The social distancing.
Yep.
Yeah,
For real.
Too real. X card. Too real.
Yeah.
I like the
I'm
date.
tapping.
Just
The
the
date.
date.
The date.
Or the
Not
unweaving.
I do like the unweaving. That's pretty fun.
I also
How
like
are you guys on chat?
that's like the
I
scattering.
have Twitch open and I have it open on another window.
Clara, if you open up Twitch, you can get the chat, and you can also pop the chat window out and then close Twitch so it doesn't kill your bandwidth.
Oh God, this changes everything. Okay.
Yeah.
I do like the conflagration. I'm never going to say it. Conflagration.
Conflagration.
Yeah, that's my vote.
I kind of like that. Sorry, chat.
The sizzling.
The
Sorry. I pulled up a bunch of words that mean burning. I'm totally
rotisserie.
thesaurus it. I am thesaurus.comming it right now.
Well, Jim
That's what I was
likes
doing
it.
before.
So.
I'm a big fan.
You don't sell the loss of knowledge; you sell the sizzling.
Wow.
Conflagration of the order. I like it.
Well, this is a podcast. Everyone's just going to hear Nick's great puns and all of us dying slowly as we laugh.
But what a way to go.
Right.
Yep.
Okay.
Conflagration.
Yeah, we've got, I think, everything we need now. You guys have where you were during the actual events, what the war was fought over, what the nations were, what they all stood for. And so next time we meet, we'll have everyone make their characters and have their, made. And yeah, I think I think we're good. Was there anything else you folks wanted to go over or dive more into? Yes, Clara. You're muted. I'm sorry.
Clara, you're muted.
Good, you couldn't hear me swearing.
We felt it though. We felt it in our heart.
I'm glad.
And
Do
lip
you want us
readers
to
could.
have? Yeah, lip readers are gonna be very confused by my swears. Do you want us to be meeting each other fairly recently from this? God, should we meet in a tavern first game, or do you want us to have a little more like we just did a thing and now we're on the road again?
I think what we'll probably end up doing is having you on the road again, and you all will go through and recap what you just did. Each of you taking turns, anding and changing what that adventure was. I like the idea of all of you already knowing each other and already being on this ship, whatever you guys want to call it. If you want to have an autopilot who flies it for you, great. If one of you wants to take up the mantle of pilot, great. Entirely up to you. But yeah, I do want you all to know each other and to be together at this point. Whether you're clutching onto each other since the event because that's all you have now, or that's just what's comfortable and you don't want to change anything after everything. So,
I mean, we definitely met because if you came to the Order to try and find information on why you're alive, we met before that got destroyed. Though I don't think you would have been there when it was destroyed.
Yeah, that just it makes some timeline squishiness. We'll figure it. There are other temples, so.
Well, I mean, it's totally possible
that
that's when you guys you all had arrived, were doing the research, working together while this fight occurred, and you had to escape together.
Okay,
that does make sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, and you were the ones we were able to help get out. Just not any members of my order, apparently, and I'm very sad.
Well, they should have been able to find their own way out. Like that's
they should have run faster.
Maybe that's something you hunt down as beacons of your order. Their airships are scattered through the areas.
Some of them are living in swamp planets. Some of them are living on desert planets. Yeah. Some of them are.
There's this image of twin suns.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good question. How many suns does this planet have? No, that's serious. One?
I'm okay with one. I'm okay with one, and maybe if we wanted to do something fun, like multiple moons.
Yeah, I'm down with multiple moons, but like a single sun.
Okay, so
scientifically,
moons.
Yeah, scientifically, we should only have one sun, not two.
We're not about science here. Come on, it's a dark sun. No iron. All sand.
Is one a forest moon?
Maybe you guys go moon jumping. Who knows?
God.
So one moon, one sun, several moons. We'll figure out on the number later. And if there's habitable life on there,
yeah. We have to go to the forest moon last because it has to be the end or.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you for that.
Jub-nub.
Oh, that was good.
I appreciate all of that. Thank you. All right. James V wants us to add Spelljammer. We'll see.
I mean,
like if that were my choice.
Spelljammer's such a weird setting.
Yeah, but I love
that's the point.
Yeah, those dragonfly ships. Oh man.
Well, like this.
I've loved those.
Homebrew.
Mm-hmm.
This is a homebrew. Like
that's true.
Firefly-esque. Like we could have airships come in many forms, and if technically the airships are run by magic anyway.
Oh, you're making a real powerful argument. I might send over some of the ship diagrams over to Jameson.
Please do. I mean, and this is totally.
I would honestly, I would love to be tooling around in one of the Dragonfly class ships from Spelljammer because that has been something that I've loved for 20, 30 years now.
Let's do it. That's the entire point of this game. Let's do it. It's a magical based ship. It works. It fits your guys' theme, and it's something that came from the Order.
Yep.
All right.
I mean, whereas the other ships are steam powered and or powered by other energy sources. Great.
Oh, definitely our Dragonfly, or like the ships that our nation has, are not as big and cannot carry as much. They're probably more. It's like airplanes versus zeppelins. In that, like, there's a lot of drawbacks to flying a zeppelin.
Right.
So wait, you're the airplane, not the zeppelin, right? Or
other way around.
We're the zeppelins. Okay, I thought you guys would be like small and nimble, but not very much firepower or defense.
I would say
I was gonna go with the zeppelin is slow and shitty and has a really big obvious flaw.
Right. The exhaust port.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's not Death Star our ship.
Let's Death Star their ships. I mean, they could have the big, powerful zeppelins. Yes, don't maneuver very well, but they do have very big cannons and very heavy armor.
That's true.
They make great blockades.
All of ours are magic powered.
Read Leviathan, it makes all the sense.
Okay.
I'll have to. I will post more more required reading, I guess. In do we still have forums?
Yeah,
Kimmy, don't kill me, but do we still have forums?
Yes, we still have forums.
We still have forums, absolutely.
Okay. I'm sorry.
And actually, that's a really good place for people who are listening later and weren't able to participate in any of the world building here. Mm-hmm. If they want to make suggestions, we can start a forum post about this game and let people make some suggestions, or at least give us reading lists and ideas and things for us to look at and consider.
Maybe give us some political leaders.
Yeah, the names. Mm-hmm. The illusionist of the Thrawn.
Names. So we don't have Thrawn guy in Dumbledore.
I believe it's pronounced Throngi.
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 I was going with Throndelwald.
Throndelwald. Clara, are you on the internet?
Throndelwald.
Y'all can go home now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm already home.
I know, I'm sad about it.
Throndelwald and Dumbledore. I don't have another name for Dumbledore, so.
Doesn't matter. We all know who he is.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I just here. Can you see?
Nope, I see spiral.
There it is.
There we go.
Perfect.
Gay.
Gay.
Go to.
Yes, it needs to be explicitly clear. They were gay.
Yes.
Gay.
100%.
None of this Schrodinger's gay bullshit.
No subtext.
This is take them out of the box. Mm-hmm. I gotcha.
It's all text here.
All of the text. So much text.
All right. Was there anything else you folks would like to go over?
Nothing in chat. Okay. Nothing on stream, I think.
Nothing on stream. Okay. Backgrounds. Give those a look at. Anything is open. If there's something that you're not comfortable with, you don't find something that matches what you're looking at, we'll make something up. I do want to have backgrounds actually be important to this game. So even though you pick a background, I want us to kind of delve deeper into it. Like, what does this mean? Are you from this nation or that nation? And why is that a thing? What do you carry with you from your nation?
Mm-hmm.
So.
Love that.
Awesome. And off stream, we gotta figure out like what exactly happens if that magic starts reversing. If Joey's magic starts reversing, is it like a zombie situation where I lose eyeballs, or is it like I want to know?
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, that's fun.
Or is it just like you drop down dead if he's too far away?
Maybe we do this. Maybe if you get a certain distance, you start making you roll on the wild magic table, and we just see what happens.
Oh, yikes.
Wild magic table!
Beard of feathers.
That would actually
it's like a side effect.
Yeah. I was imagining just your character would start to kind of like whine, slow down like you were running out of, like, unwound. Just wind down.
I was thinking of also in Princess Bride when he just like can't move his body.
Yes.
Just like, okay.
That's what I was kind of picturing, where it's like you suddenly start losing function,
Mobility.
and then eventually you just
stop.
once you die.
Rigor mortis sets in.
Like unwinding. We'll figure it out, but it's gonna be fun and terrible because I love consequences.
Mm-hmm.
I just love the idea that one of us has to carry you at some point because Joey's too far, and we're like, God damn it! Get back here!
They kidnapped the board.
Oh, that's amazing.
Oh
I'm gonna be Dex 16. Keep up.
I'm gonna have a Dex of 14. So
okay, I started when I was level 1. I started this game with an HP of 8.
Oh, that is a good question. How are we doing HP? Are we just doing averages? Or what do you want to do?
I hate low HP just because it's sort of not fun. So take the average, but always roll. If you roll under the average, then take the average. If you roll above the average, take whatever you rolled.
Beautiful.
Cool.
I can do that.
I love that system.
So D&D Beyond actually has a calculator for HP based on your constitution or something.
Mm-hmm.
So my character kind of came with one.
That's fine. If you want to use that, because I think sometimes it's a little... I've had issues with HP. Yeah. So you are using a let me see, is it D8 for your HP. So your first level, it's going to be 8 plus your Constitution modifier, which at most is going to be 3. So it's going to be 11 to start with. Is your con 8 or is it? I'm sorry. Is your con?
I'm actually at 18 now, so I'm okay. I'm not mad at it. It's like a comfortable rogue HP.
That's kind of low. What's your Constitution score?
18
10.
for level 1's not bad.
For 3, we're at level 3.
Level 3, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm I've got a 10 Constitution.
Okay, so 0.
It is not my nerf stat, but it's pretty close.
Right.
Yeah.
That 18 is max for level 1, plus con bonus, and then 5 and 5 because rogues are a D8.
Would be 18. Yeah. Okay. If you're comfortable with that, cool. If you want to roll the dice and see if you can do better, that's also fine.
Look, apparently I die if I get too far from Joey, so like, what's an 18 HP at this point?
Maybe it should be your dump stat.
It's my dump stat.
Con is just not what you're good at right now because you died.
I'm gonna be like, here's the problem is like the Jewish mother in me comes out and I was like, I died. Because I'm gonna use it to guilt trip everyone.
Oh, sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, but did you die though? Yes, I did.
Yes, actually.
Okay, technically, sure.
But then Joey's character gets to be like, yeah, but I brought you back.
You're a move, Yugi boy.
Meanwhile, my girl is just like, will you two stop fighting?
No.
And just has more wine.
More wine.
As you do, yeah.
I got that.
All right. I love all of this. So we're going to call it for today.
Cool.
We'll continue the chat offline, resolve character creation, and then when we start next Wednesday at 7, we'll have characters. I'm going to be stealing liberally from other rule systems because this is, again, D&D 5e in name only, and we roll a d20. That's kind of it. Everything else will be lifted, happily. But let's go around the table real quick and have everyone tell everyone where can they see more of you. Joey, let's start with you, bud.
Okay, cool. You can basically see me here at Happy Jacks. I'm here every Wednesday playing this game, and then I'm here every other Sunday, including this Sunday, playing our Vampire 5e game, Glittering Night, where I get to live my best Toreador life, and I'm loving every minute of it. And hopefully see more soon. Hopefully with outside gigs, we can go outside again. Hooray!
Yay.
So if would you say you're dead and loving it?
Boo.
Boo.
Yes. How dare you?
I'm glad that people thought the end was 5 minutes ago.
Blythe, where can they see more of you?
So you can find me on Twitters and Instagrams at BlytheKayla93. That's BlytheKayla93. You can also catch me on Mondays at 3 Pacific Time, 6 o'clock Eastern Time, playing Star Trek Adventures on ST_Perseverance. If you check Twitter, #QueersInSpace, you can see our shenanigans. You will also be seeing me here every Wednesday now. And yeah, hopefully once I can leave again, other things will happen.
Too true. Clara, where can they find more of you?
Here every Wednesday now. You can catch up with the shenanigans of the Merry Wives of Windsor everywhere at Merry Wives, specifically Facebook, where I'm basically running around helping them on social media because musicians have it tough right now. Everywhere else, I'm at Clearly Golden, unless you're into mermaids, in which case I'm at Mermaid Clarity.
Okay. Nick.
Will be here every Wednesday. You can also find me at Sungrowler on Instagram and Twitter. Instagram, don't bother, I'm never on there, but I am on Twitter periodically. I am also appearing here on alternating Mondays for Tales from the Flood. Floodwater is our insert coin. Floodwater is our show on Monday nights, alternating Monday nights, and you can see what it's like in a somewhat dystopic 90s that wasn't exactly like what you remember.
Awesome. And I've been GM Mace, just like it says, right here. I'm also on another show called Games We Never Play. It's a podcast where we play the board games that are just sitting on your shelf collecting dust or on your hard drive. So
it's great, and you should listen to it. It's real fun. Yeah. Do it.
Agreed.
Thank you. Well, I will see you all next week. You take care, and make sure to like, follow, subscribe here so you get all the updates. All right?
Yeah.
Do it.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Do it. Do it.
Do it.